Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the business meeting of the Wall Township Board of Education for Tuesday, October 15th. Please rise and join me in saluting the flag. United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask our Board Secretary, Mr. Smythe, to please read the sunshine announcement and perform roll call.
Adequate notice under the Open Public Meeting Act was provided notice to the CoStar, Asbury Park Press, the Township Clerk's Office, all Wall Township Public Schools, and the Board Administration Office on August 29, 2024. Take a roll call. Mr. Adenizio. Here. Ms. Barbier. Mr. Buffa.
Here.
Ms. DiGiovanni. Here. Mr. Maliff.
Here.
Mr. Nasser.
Here.
Ms. Shimko.
Here.
Mr. Wondrak. Ms. Stites.
Here. Thank you. At this time, may I please have a motion to go into executive session for the items listed on the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Adenizio, may I have a second? Second. Ms. DiGiovanni, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? At this time, the board will be going into executive session, and we anticipate returning at 7 o'clock. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. At this time, I'll be reconvening the business meeting of the Wall Township Board of Education for Tuesday, October 15th. Please join me in welcoming members of our Wall High School NNDCC Cadet Program as they present the colors.
Ready, forward, march. Left wheel, march. Ready, halt. Left wheel, march. Forward, march. Ready, halt. Order, arms. Cut. Color guard. Fall out.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure when we have our members of the NNDCC join us. They consistently come to our meetings, and we're very grateful for their participation. And clearly, they are doing an amazing job. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Smythe, our board secretary, to please perform roll call.
Yes, Mr. Adenizio?
Here.
Ms. Barbier?
Here.
Mr. Buffa?
Here.
Ms. DiGiovanni?
Here.
Mr. Maliff?
Here.
Mr. Nasser?
Here.
Ms. Shimko?
Here.
Mr. Wondrak?
Here.
Mason Adam?
Here.
Megan Cappy?
Here.
Ms. Stites?
Here. Thank you so much. At this time, we're going to be opening the floor for public comment. If you would like to contribute to this evening's meeting, you may either use our podium at the top of the stairs or the podium right here down below. So please come forth and share your thoughts and ideas.
Betsy Cross, I live in Wall Township. Glad to see the color guard back again. Just wanted to mention, I put in an Oprah today. I had gotten a text message from Michael Shelton, and I don't want anything to do with him, and I wasn't sure if it was meant to go to somebody else, like Adam Nasser on the board, or maybe Brian Smythe. So I put in an Oprah for any text messages, phone calls to Thomas Buffa, Brian Smythe, Adam Nasser, and Ken Wondrak. Where is he? Right there. Mr. Shelton has had me blocked on Facebook for years, thank God. And if he unblocks me, I will then block him. But he's had me blocked for years. He keeps telling you false information. Happiest day of my life when he did. So I'd like those documents back. Feel free to say if you did not get text messages in the last 3 days, because I want that back in writing, Mr. Nasser and Mr. Smythe in particular. So I hope you talked about it in executive session. I did find out we do not have lawsuits on here again on the Central School trailers, on Miss Warnick. A new case settled, and that is not on here. So I keep sending them to the Attorney General and to the Comptroller's office. So I'm glad you're shaking your head, Ms. Cornell. We got so many conflicts of interest in this district, you can't even keep up with it. And I see Athena Cornell is laughing and writing it down, so that's good. I see finally the executive minutes came back. So hopefully when Mr. Smythe gives his update, he can let us know that he had mentioned that he doesn't check his spam folder, being this sophisticated business administrator. He didn't check his spam folder in a month. It sounds ridiculous. So he didn't get the Oprahs. So they came back today. I will post them all up on Facebook. August 20th, Dr. Hanrahan talks about our phone call while I talked about the activity for falsifying documents. And I mean, we can't just have, if something's criminal, then Wall gets involved. You have to get involved when things are not criminal. And that's why I pointed it out to you, Dr. Hanrahan. There was no enrollment for September. I don't know what's going on there. I've never not seen it posted in October for September. I can't believe we're spending $18 million on HVAC upgrades. If you could go over that tonight before you vote on it. I don't even know if the board knows why you're doing it. But I don't think we even spent $10 million on the HVAC equipment. How could we possibly be spending $18 million just on upgrades?
Thank you, Mrs. Cross.
And then also
Thank you,
the
Mrs. Cross.
interior alterations at multiple schools, if you can go over that as well.
Thank you, Mrs. Cross. Do we have anyone else for public comment? Do we have anyone else that would like to share their thoughts or perspective, either at the top or the bottom microphone? Seeing none, we'll close the floor for public comment. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Mason Adam and Megan Cappy, two of our seniors, class of 2025, who will be giving us their student representative report.
This week at Wall High School is a fun week as it is Pep Week. Last night was the junior versus senior Powder Puff game, and the seniors took the win, winning 35-7. Tonight is volleyball night, and each grade will compete against each other. On Friday, it is the homecoming football game versus Howell at 7. This is our annual Pink Out game, and during halftime, the school will award a king and queen of homecoming. Lastly, the homecoming dance will be Saturday the 19th from 6 to 9. It'll be a great time, and we can't wait for a fun rest of the week.
Next week, Wall High School will participate in the Red Ribbon Week. Activities will be held all week to raise awareness for drug abuse prevention. There will be a Beatles tribute concert on Friday, October 25th to benefit the Wall Music Honor Society. The concert will be in the Iva Applegate Theater. And last but certainly not least, there's no school tomorrow.
Thanks very much, you guys. I'd like to congratulate both of you for being nominated to Homecoming Court. I think that's a really great honor coming from your peers. So the board's very proud of you as well, and I hope you guys have a great time for Homecoming Week. And now I'm sure you've got some other things you'd probably like to do tonight, so feel free to get on your way. Dr. Hanrahan, I'm going to turn the floor over to you for special presentation introduction.
Thank you very, very much, Ms. Stites. It's my pleasure to introduce to you the first of two special presentations, providing some insight into our Week of Respect and focusing in on Everything is Possible is Ms. Kaylin Gilveri. Come on down, Ms. Gilveri.
Hi, everybody. All right. First and foremost, I want to say thank you so much to all of you for having me here again tonight. Ms. Tiffany Steiner was unable to make it tonight, but she sends her regards and she appreciates the availability of us presenting again tonight. I just wanted to go over some of the new activities that were going on for 7 Mindsets. We have kicked off and we have enjoyed a successful first month and a first mindset. Week of Respect really fell perfectly with our mindset of everything is possible. So we want to kind of just highlight some of the things that we've done this month throughout the whole district, all the buildings. They've done a fantastic job, and we really appreciate all of the energy that the staff and the kids are really putting into what's going on. So as you can see, our 4 core ideas: dream big, embrace creativity, think positively, and act and adjust. We've kind of explored this last year, and part of what we wanted to take with you guys now is beyond just the vocabulary, beyond understanding that we have lessons each month, how we're breaking it down. We really want to see it in action. So as always, actions speak louder than words. So there's a lot of new things that we've also kind of implemented this year and we're going to keep going with, and ways we want to keep recognizing what's happening in district. So one of them is when we look at respond, we want to know that the WTEA, special services, and the wellness department, really kicked off the beginning of school with another family night. They did a solid start to the year. We had integrated care management come and do a presentation. It was a really fun night for the kids and for the parents to learn great ways to interact. Okay, stop saying Innovate. Obviously, we have Ms. McCann's new section where she collaborates with Mr. Piddington, who is our Director of Food Services. And it's called Chicken Soup, get it? For the soul, and this is where we're really trying to, through the wellness workshops and everything, really give you a chance to shine through your books and what you love, and it gives us a chance to get to know you and to really get a sense for the district to understand what your true passion is, along with our food service director is now creating soups for us. So what's happening is we're looking at it as another way for our families to get together in the family kitchen, make a soup, read a book, have some time together, and really enjoy what's going on in your life. Sometimes those family dinners are so key. So that is our new chicken soup for the soul. We will be doing it each month, so we thank you very much, Mrs. McCann, for being a good sport about it. We loved it. And then Dream and Inspire, obviously parents and teachers, you can see some of the stars up there. That's specifically from the high school, but really identifying and looking into how do we keep inspiring our kids? How do we keep letting them dream outside the box? Those are through the high school. I think it's just a great idea to see that even though it's not a lesson in the classroom, it's throughout the building. So the kids are still really getting involved. We also have our head nurse, Mrs. Penn, who continually will give us each month a wellness strategy, however she wants to take it. What it does is it's really looking at different ways of increasing wellness, whether mind, body, or spirit. She's really using a lot of the medical aspect of how to keep us healthy. This is going to be in every one of our newsletters, and I think it's great that we have the nursing department also getting it and getting some more ability to really get their word out there too, because sometimes we forget school also means mind, body, health, medical, all of that kind of stuff. So we're really trying to incorporate all different areas of the district. We also want to show courage in that we have Mrs. Skirbowitz, who is here, who we are so excited to announce that she has just signed to be a published author with Starlight Books Publishing, and she wrote and illustrated a children's poetry book, and she will be, this has been a lifelong dream, correct? And we're so super proud of her, and I think it's just amazing that she's on staff. She uses her creative ability every day, but she continues to dream outside the box, and we're so super excited for her, so congratulations on that. Let's see, what else? So all during the week of respect, you can see that we've done a ton of stuff too. So I just kind of wanted to highlight a few things. I don't want to take up too much time because I know it's a busy meeting tonight. But as you can see, we are still trying to really hone in the state, the anti-bullying Bill of Rights, all of that, which is so important for New Jersey and for us, that we wanted to align that with everything as possible, and it did. It aligned quite nicely. So you can see as we chose topics that were really relevant to what we were doing, showing how we're displaying our respect for each other and what it means to be a Wall Knight. We really learning from our mistakes and rising above challenges. It really helps for our community goals to also be set and to be looked at. As you can see, like the first couple pictures comes from our new wellness webinars, where we have elementary and middle school taking part in a wellness webinar once a month. and the kids get to interact online through a Google Meet and really learn digital citizenship also. So this allows them to keep knowing and keep understanding what it is to have a digital footprint, to interact on a digital platform, and learn also ways of respect that included in the 7 mindsets. These wellness webinars, also we've created the Mindset Mentors. So if you see them in the middle, these are elementary students who have been nominated by their very own classmates. And these are students that are recognized for being somebody who is always there to help, to listen, to care. They've gone through their own little boot camp of training. And what they do is during the Mindset webinars, they act as a leader or like a foreman for the class and really help engage in the conversation and report back via the Google Meet. So it's a great opportunity for them to really display leadership qualities and also strive for that leadership aspect of what we're going to hopefully train them for as they keep going forward, which I think is just wonderful. And I have to tell you, the elementary kids are so excited to do it, and watching their little faces, it just kind of brightens your day. You can't not smile at it, so we love it. Hopefully it will make its way up to the middle school this year. We'll see. Hint, hint, Mrs. Steiner. Let's see what else. The high school did wonderful door decorating, and that went to, it wasn't just respect, it was the class's idea, so each individual classroom or homeroom, what that class passions were. So again, we're not just looking at how to display respect, we're talking about why is it important to us? Why is it important to them? And they got to learn how to work together, but also a lot of those passions aligned. So you can see, and I know these are small pictures, but they're really learning how that this verbiage and this ability to identify and follow dreams, just as everything is possible, is really eye-opening for them. So we're super excited for that. The middle school did tons of great stuff. They had different outfits every day, same with most of the other schools. They did a pledge of respect. Most of them had, like West Belmar had the peace tree, and Allenwood had a peace sign where they either used their handprint or leaves, and they wrote all these messages of peace and respect. It was really quite beautiful. The middle school also engaged in a Google Classroom activity that they could digitally thank a teacher for all they've done. So we're really trying to just explore new ways of getting it out there. So what's next? Passion first. I'm not going to give it away, but this is what we're looking at in the next month. We're looking at, again, 3 lessons and 1 wellness webinar, all aligned to Passion First. We have a lot of evening presentations coming up for our community because we know how important it is to engage our parents and to engage our community. We're super excited about our Kinder Meet and Greet. That's coming up this month, where the kindergarten parents are going to get to meet kindergarten staff, learn about 7 mindsets, and really get immersed into this great new environment that we're working and living in. We've also invited the executive boards of all the PTOs and CAPE, because I know they call themselves CAPE, to really come in, learn protective factors for students. We've coordinated, an MHA, Mental Health Association of Monmouth County, is coming in, and they're going to do a presentation on protective factors and how to keep our kids safe. So it's going to be a great night. We're using the Community Wellness in the Works again, so you're going to continue to see those volumes coming out. There's a new wellness website. Excuse me, it's not new, but it's updated. So what we're doing is, Ms. Steiner has really done a great job in really trying to get not just mental health services, not just academic services, but services that go across the board. So she has a link for the navigation system warm line. What that means is you can go onto the website if you have any questions about housing, food insecurities, mental health, childcare, employment. We're going to have those resources there for you. So we're really trying to reach every single member of our community. If there's anything that they need assistance with, that's a link that's going to help them get there. And we do have our next leadership council. We're going to have another presentation with MHA, but we're bringing all the members of our community leadership in and really talking about the difference between community and school response and how, in a crisis, and how we can work together and make it a seamless interaction for the betterment of our community and our kids. So we're super excited about everything coming up. Thank you for listening to me ramble one more time. But I really appreciate all the support, and I hope you're excited to see what comes next. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you so, so much, Ms. Gilveri. I really appreciate you coming out tonight to share the amazing things that our students and our faculty family and staff family have been working on. It's my pleasure for the second presentation this evening to introduce our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction, Ms. Jennifer McCann, and she will be sharing with you an update on state testing. So, Ms. McCann.
Mike's not on. There we go. I was saying I'm not sure my presentation will be as exciting, seeing it's all data related, but I will do my best to keep you engaged as we go through the results of our 2023-2024 state testing results. A couple of months ago, I went over some of our other data, our Access for Ls and our NJ GPA results, and now it is time to go over our NJSLA, which is our New Jersey state learning assessment, and also our DLM results. So our New Jersey Student Learning Assessment was administered in the spring of 2024 to all students in grades 3 to 8, anyone who was enrolled in Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry, as well as any student enrolled in grades 3 through 9 for English Language Arts. Science is administered to students in grades 5, 8, and 11, and all of the assessments are aligned to the New Jersey Student Learning Standards. There are 5 performance levels. Level 1 is did not meet the state expectations. Level 2 is partially met the expectations. Level 3, approaching expectations. Level 4, meeting the expectations. And level 5, exceeding the expectations. At this point, all parents should have received their students' individual report with their specific performance levels for each of the assessments that apply to that child. So when we look at our English Language Arts achievement and growth over the past 4 years, again, I'm sorry the numbers are small. However, to fit everything on the slide and not make this go on forever, we did put it all on one slide. But what I would like to highlight is as you look at the different variations of purple in each of the grade spans, the lightest purple is from 2018-2019 school year, which is prior to the pandemic, and the darkest bar is our current results from 2023-2024. So if you look at those 2 bars specifically, in each of our grade levels, we have started to either match up to where we were prior to the pandemic, or get just about there either by outperforming by 1 or 2 percent points or just shy of 1 or 2 percent points. So from my opinion, all of the supports and interventions that we have put into place over the past couple of years to assist our students in recovering from the pandemic are working, and now we can take off from here and continue to succeed. This is another way of looking at that same data, but instead of just looking at the students who were meeting and exceeding the expectations, this gives a year-to-year comparison in each grade and ELA of all of the performance levels over time. Essentially, what we would like to see from year to year is less red and orange and more yellow, light green, and dark green over from a year-to-year administration of the test. Keep in mind when comparing from year to year, you are talking about different students. This is not cohorted data, which we will get to. but this is just the same assessment given to different sets of students from year to year. Now we do get to look at the cohort. So the first two bars in each of the grade levels, so the first, I'll actually say first 4 sets of bars, we were provided data through our new assessment platform, Linkit, that allows us to look at students from a cohort, which meant that it was the students who were able to take the administration in grade 3 and then in grade 4. And then we were also provided information of students who were non-cohorted, which meant there was an anomaly. They either took it in grade 3 but not in grade 4, or took it in grade 4 but not in grade 3. So there was really no apples to apples comparison. So let's just focus on the first 2 bars in each of the grade levels. But if you look at the first set of grade 3 to grade 4, the students who were in grade 3 last year were at 52%. Those same students were now at 71% being proficient. In our previous grade 4 students were at 64% meeting or exceeding the expectations last year, and this year we're at 75% with them being in grade 5. The next set would be our grade 5 to grade 6. We had a little bit of a drop from 77% to 74%. The following grade levels, 6th to 7th, another little drop, 79% to 75%. However, our grade 7 students who in the previous year to 8th grade from last year did go up, 77 to 81. And our 8th grade to 9th grade were 62 to 61. And then overall in all grade levels, we were at 69% meeting or exceeding to an overall 73%. Now, we also are required to look at all of our data from a demographic standpoint. So we first look at it by race. So from, again, last year to this year, in terms of our different races within the district of Asian, Black, Hispanic, multiple races, or white. These are our results in terms of how are they performing. This particular set of data allows us to really hone in on what we may need to do moving forward for a particular set of students, different types of supports, different types of interventions, different types of enrichments, depending on how the data is representative of a particular group. We also are required to look at our data from a programmatic standpoint in terms of our ELL students or multilingual students, our free and reduced lunch students, our 504 students, special ed students, and our gen ed students. This provides us a completely different lens in terms of the specific programming and instructional resources that we provide to each of these different programs. And what more we would be able to do for our students. And similarly in math, again, instead of purple, we now have different shades of blue to represent from 2018-19 school year to our current school year of 2023-2024. And you'll notice in grade 3, we fared from pre-pandemic to now just about 70% in each one. In grade 4, we dipped a little bit. However, we did go up from last year to this year. In grade 5, we are above where we were pre-pandemic. Grade 6, also above where we were pre-pandemic. Grade 7, also above where we were pre-pandemic. Grade 8, we're climbing back and making huge strides. In our middle school Algebra 1 class, we are about at 95% of students meeting or exceeding the expectations. We also have Algebra 1 at the high school, where we're working on our curriculum and the students who are in those classes and ensuring that we're providing them with the accurate interventions from when they were in previous grades of missing foundational skills and concepts from during the pandemic. We have our middle school geometry students who are at 88% meeting or exceeding. our geometry high school students at 40%, and I want to highlight our Algebra 2 high school students who moved from 60% being exceeding or meeting the expectation to 81% this past school year. And that was really intentional with things that we changed within our curriculum and in our instructional methods at the high school. And overall, with all of those grades, we are at 63% across the district. This is that same type of view that you saw for ELA of grade to grade from year to year. And again, the same premise. We want to reduce the amount of students who are in red, orange, or yellow and start to increase the number of students from year to year who are in the lighter green of meeting and the darker green of exceeding. And this is that cohort data, similar to what we saw in ELA of students of where they were performing as a cohort in one grade to where they grew or decreased to the next grade. And similarly, by race, we look at our math data the same that we do our ELA and take that same approach of deciding what interventions or enrichment we can provide to different students. And also by program. And we also do a school comparison. So seeing all of our previous achievement data in the previous slides were for the past 4 years. I felt it was worthwhile to show each of the schools over the past 4 years. You'll notice all the way to the right, and there's a column that is highlighted, and they are ranked by how the schools performed in both ELA and math across the district. So we have Old Mill at 78%, West Belmar at 68%, Allenwood at 65%, and Central in grade 3 at 44%. In terms of math, it's Old Mill at 83, Allenwood at 79, West Belmar at 68, and Central at 54. And similarly for grade 4, same type of approach. They're ranked from highest proficiency and down. So we have Central at 72% in grade 4, West Belmar at 72%, Allenwood at 71%, and Old Mill at 67%. West Belmar for math at 83%, Central at 66%, Allenwood at 63%, and Old Mill at 53%. And the same for math. 82 at Central, 80 at Allenwood, 68 at West Belmar, and 60 at Old Mill. And then for math, we have Central at 69%, Allenwood at 69%, Old Mill at 62%, and West Belmar at 53%. Now, one of the other pieces of data that this particular program allowed us to be able to do was to not only look and see who's meeting and exceeding, but also look to see how our students were doing from a year over year. Were our students growing, or are they moving up a level? Are they moving down a level? And how can we help support them in continuing to move forward and not necessarily regress? So we have the red shows the percentage of students from grade 3 to grade 4 or one grade to a next that moved down a level or multiple levels. The yellow represents the percentage of students who remained the same in terms of a proficiency level. And the green represents the percentage of students who moved up one or more levels. In ELA, and we also have the same for math. This data is particularly important from a building level for principals and teachers to sit and look and say, okay, what happened with this particular student or groups of students? Was it something within the curriculum? Do we need to make adjustments? Is it your pacing? Is it the sequence? So that we can then ensure that, like I said, we're moving students forwards, not backwards. And I'm sorry, but we have to go through the same for science. But science is shorter because there's only 3 grade levels. We have grade 5, grade 8, grade 11. The way in which our data comes back from this particular assessment is different than math and ELA. In math and ELA, the state provides us what they call evidence statements, which allows us to be able to see what standards were assessed year over year on the assessment. They do not provide that information to districts for the science assessment. So it is, from my perspective, a guessing game in terms of what content will actually be assessed from the standards in each of the grade levels. And the same distribution for all of our performance levels from each of those grades. Also by race. And also by program. So after looking at all of the data, and from a district standpoint, I look at the data with my supervisors and my directors, and we analyze what we feel from a district perspective needs to be addressed, and what were our challenges and our accomplishments. We were really proud of the fact that, like I said, while looking through the data, that we're back where we were as a district pre-pandemic. It really gives us a foundation to really start from scratch from here and know that we're sort of where we were before in order for us to really start moving forward and providing even more supports and interventions for students who need it, as well as pushing those students who are meeting expectations to exceeding expectations. We were really proud of our accomplishments in Algebra 2 at the high school and moving that mark from being in the 60% to being at 81% for those students. That's a huge accomplishment, and it just goes to the testament of looking at curriculum and working with those teachers and what they did throughout the school year to move those students forward. In terms of our challenges in looking at our data, we continue to need to look at informational text in terms of vocabulary and comprehension, and providing more opportunities for our students in the classrooms with that, as well as analyzing literature and being able to answer specific questions related to the literature that they're reading. In terms of math, we continue to work on fractions, solving equations, and functions. So what are our next steps? We continue to do data dives with this new assessment platform and data platform that we have, Linkit. All of our data is in there. Our teachers are getting their first workshop tomorrow during our PD day on what their dashboards will look like and what kind of data they have at their fingertips in order to drive their instruction and make some adjustments if needed, or what types of activities they could be doing with their students. Continuing to provide our students with targeted academic support, whether that be during the school day in intervention, or before school or after school for our Title I programs and Title I schools, and always looking at our curriculum and revising and resequencing topics in order to ensure we give our students the opportunity to see the content before they're assessed on it. Now, the other assessment that we need to also go over this evening is the Dynamic Learning Maps Assessment, also known as DLM. It too was administered in the spring. It's an alternate assessment for students with the most significant intellectual disabilities in ELA, mathematics, and science. You'll notice the 3 content areas are the exact same content areas for students who are not part of DLM, and that's intentional. This particular assessment is just that, an alternate assessment for these students in these 3 areas to assess where they are. They too have 4 proficiency levels: emerging, approaching target, at their target, or advanced. Due to the number of students who take the assessment within the district, which is a very small percentage of the students as required by the state, students typically need to take the NJSLA, but I believe it's 10%, Ms. Bond? 1% of your total population, of your special ed population, take the DLM. Thank you for that clarification. So with that, this is a district-wide, not by grade level. So of the students who were assessed in science, it's 50% of our students were emerging, 17% were approaching their target, and 33 were at target, and we didn't have anyone in science who was advanced. When it comes to the math assessment, we had 40% of the population who took the assessment at emerging, 20% approaching their target, 40% at their target, and 0% advanced. And in ELA, we were spread across the board at 20% emerging, 50% approaching target, 20% at target, and 10% advanced. Thank you for your time. I know it's a lot of data and small numbers and a lot of graphs, but the presentation will be put on the website for anybody who would like to look at it in more depth. Thank you.
While everyone is gathering back on the dais, thank you so much, Ms. McCann, for that very detailed presentation. And thank you very, very much. And it's terrific to see the progress of our students. And I particularly appreciate the look over time, because we have been working very, very hard as all of the educators in this district to get our kids back to pre-pandemic levels, but also to surpass them as well. So a lot of great work is happening. So thank you for sharing that with us tonight.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to be moving into the President's Report. The first thing I would like to do is recognize our Wall High School certificate students for September of 2024. In grade 9, we had Trevor Ludwig, grade 10, Carly Mazer, grade 11, Connor McAuliffe, and grade 12, Mason Wells. For Knights of the Week, for the week of September 16th, we had Gus Stadronsky, and the week of September 23rd, we had Max Katsouris. So congratulations to those students. It's fun to be back at our Students of the Month and Knights of the Week. I know that your friends and family are proud, and we appreciate all your hard work. Now that we're back in October, a lot of our activities are really in full swing. I'd like to thank all of our community for all the work that you put into the schools. Obviously, our educators, our administrators, all of our school staff work very, very hard to make sure that our students have outstanding curriculum and great programming. And I know that our community members who participate on various volunteer groups in the schools really pour their hearts and souls and take that experience up another whole notch. So I'd like to just recognize a few of the activities that are going on around in Wall. I know for our Allenwood PTG, they are under an initiative where they are selling boo bags and getting ready for their trunk or treat. I'd like to congratulate them on the beautiful book fair that they accomplished. I know that at Cape is currently having a cereal drive and just had a wonderful second grade fall festival. Our Old Mill Home and School has its fun run with the addition of a great fall festival happening on October 26th. And I know they just also had a very successful coin race West Belmar is getting ready for their very popular Fall Festival, which is this Friday, the 18th, and they will be celebrating Los Dias des Muertos. Please, Spanish teachers, do not come after me. On October 24th. At WIS, there's always a tremendous amount of activities happening in our upper grades. They are having a fundraiser, parking pass for the Thanksgiving Wall versus Manasquan football game. And then they take those funds and reinvest them into activities for the kids, including things like picnics and class trips and offsetting for students in need who participate, and all kinds of really great events there. They're also in the midst of a sock drive. And at the Wall High School, as our students mentioned, they are very much in the swing of their homecoming festivities, and their PTO is again hosting the homecoming dance, which was actually reintroduced last year with tremendous success. I know that the ticket sales today, I believe, or at least at the 200 mark, and I think there's quite a few more. That was just today. So I think it's going to be really, really, really well attended, and I thank the folks who are working hard for that. Wall High School PTO also celebrated a beautiful Custodians Day, and just lots of different things happening. Also, not to forget our primary school, their PTO is also constantly coming up and participating along with the administration and the staff there, celebrating our youngest students and doing just a beautiful job. So that really is something to be proud of in the community. It's something positive to focus on. And if we are looking for things to get involved in, I really encourage folks to take a look at the Wall Public Schools website, pick the school that you're looking for, and they each have really great newsletters that you can access. And they are getting better and better, and they come with pictures, and we get to see a lot of what's actually happening in the schools. It's nice to be able to see what's going on, you know, when you drop your kids off and they go to school, to see all the positive things that are happening. I also want to mention to please be on the lookout for at the Wall High School. The Unified Sports Initiative continues. That is a tremendously important initiative. The Unified Sports is a New Jersey subset of Special Olympics, where we are partnering our general education students with students who may have different needs. And the idea is that partnering through training and team sports leads to friendship and understanding and a greater sense of community. So on the 19th of November, there is an event that will be coming up. I believe I wanted to mention it tonight so that people could be looking for it so we don't miss it before the next meeting, but something really exciting to see. It happens in Toms River at the Field of Dreams, so please be on the lookout for that. And I think that as far as my president's report right now, that's going to tie that up. I hope everybody's having a great fall, that you're settling in to your kind of routines with school. I know we're back to lunches and all that stuff again, but next thing you know, it'll be holiday break. So enjoy the fall, and I'm going to turn the mic over to Dr. Handerham.
Thank you very much, Ms. Stites. I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to the Wall High School Color Guard and our student representatives to the Board of Education, Mason Adam and Megan Cappy, for joining us this evening. Thank you as well to Ms. Kaylin Gilvari and Ms. Jennifer McCann for their presentations this evening. It is so incredibly important that we communicate this type of information to the public. So I thank you for your efforts. I am happy to share with you that October 2nd was National Custodian Appreciation Day. I was thrilled to see our custodians receive so much gratitude in our schools earlier this month. On behalf of the Board of Education, I wish to thank all of our custodians and operations team for everything they do for us, day, nights, weekends, and holidays. And somehow it just seems to have a lot of holidays. So thank you for all of that. So much of their hard work goes on behind the scenes. I just want them to know their efforts do not go unnoticed. Thank you. Just a reminder, the students mentioned it earlier, and certainly Ms. Stites did as well, but this Friday night, Wall High School will be hosting its annual homecoming game against Howell High School with all of the homecoming festivities. It is a great night, and I hope to see you there. Each year, New Jersey school districts must report to the Student Safety Data System, or SSDS. This system collects incidents of violence, vandalism, weapons, substance use, restraint and/or seclusion, harassment, intimidation, and bullying. It also collects HIB training information and programs conducted to support anti-bullying efforts. To complete reporting for the 2023-2024 school year with breakdowns is included in tonight's agenda as Attachment E under the Superintendent's Report. The number of total confirmed incidents for the 2023-2024 school year is: the high school, 21, intermediate school, 13, Allenwood, 1, Central School, 2, Old Mill School, 1, West Belmar School, 2, and primary school, 0. Additionally, a requirement under the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act is for each school to conduct a school self-assessment for determining grades. Each school's school safety, school climate team is required to complete the self-assessment and enter the school's rating into the NJDOE's online system. I would like to add that this self-assessment does not speak to the number of bullying incidents, but rather the compliance and established administrative protocols related to harassment, intimidation, and bullying. Each school's self-assessment for the 23-24 school year is provided as Attachment F under the Superintendent's Report. Wall High School, a mark of 76. Wall Intermediate School, a mark of 75. Allenwood, 78. Central School, 76. Old Mills, 78. West Belmar, 78. And Primary School, 77. I've received, changing gears a little bit, I have received an inquiry from a member of the public about the absence of our monthly enrollment and its companion document, Comparability of Attendance Rates, on this month's business agenda. I would like to address this concern publicly. When I arrived in Wall Township, I was surprised with how many internal use documents were added to the Board of Education agendas. Until now, I did not have a reason to not add these reports to the agenda. This school year, due to special academic programming of a small student group, these reports would arguably disclose what is referred to as personally identifying information. Please know, before not including them on this month's agenda, I confirmed with the New Jersey Department of Education to make sure that these reports do not need to be on a public Board of Education business agenda. Further, the New Jersey Department of Education does not publish details of cohort groups of students when the group is less than 10 students. I would like to stress to the Wall Township Public School community that I take personal student information, student records, very seriously. For example, the general public could potentially know the attendance rate of an individual child or children if these reports were added to our agenda. I consider this a student record. I had the option of redacting this portion of the report. However, during my time here in Wall, redactions can be viewed by some in a negative light. To not include the small cohort of data would not be accurate for our internal purposes. Therefore, at least for this school year, I will not be adding these reports. That said, some members of the public are very interested in in-district enrollment, so I will share total district enrollment to date, as of today, and total grade level enrollment breakdowns orally. Here goes. Total in-district enrollment count, 3,204. Pre-kindergarten, 72 students. Kindergarten, 228. First grade, 223. Second grade, 235. Third grade, 249. Fourth grade, 234. Fifth grade, 280. Sixth grade, 238. Seventh grade, 258. Eighth grade, 261. Ninth grade, 219. 10th grade, also 219. 11th grade, 255. And 12th grade, 233. I will be providing the enrollment figures orally in future superintendent reports as this school year progresses. I would like to remind everyone that tomorrow, October 16th, is a staff professional day, and as such, school will not be in session for students. I would also like to thank our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction and the entire C&I team for all of their hard work in preparing such an extensive professional development day for our staff. Changing gears just a bit, last month you may recall during public comment the condition of the grass on the varsity field was a topic of discussion. You may also recall that in the Thursday, September 26th edition of the CoStar, I provided some additional information as well as an apology. At this time, I would like to ask Mr. Smythe to provide some specific details regarding the opening field conditions as well as remedial measures that have since been implemented. Mr. Smythe?
Yes, thank you. And just as a recap, and as was communicated to the newspaper from yourself, the irrigation system for the varsity field as well as two other fields were shut off for an event that was occurring on campus. Although the system was turned back on, the pump that serves these fields was not turned back on, and the fields went for about a week and a half without irrigation. That was addressed by providing additional irrigation. However, it was also determined that the varsity stadium field had chinch bugs. That was treated in the middle of September. For the chinch bugs, it was additionally seeded and split seeded at that time. After the first two varsity games, the vendor came back out to the stadium field. The field was dethatched, it was core aerated, and it was split seeded, and it'll continue to be, and of course, continues to be irrigated, and it'll continually be monitored for the rest of the season. Whatever other steps can be taken to make improvements will be done.
Thank you, Mr. Smythe. As I stated in the previously mentioned CoStar article, I extend my heartfelt apology to the Wall athletic community, and I will reiterate that we do need to do better. So thank you to our operations team for working on securing our contracted services and working on a remedial plan. At this time, I'd like to return the microphone back to you, Ms. Stites.
Thank you, Dr. Handerhan. Moving into the Board of Education update, Mr. Smythe, would you be able to give us a quick overview of Oprah?
Yes, so to date for this fiscal year, which starts July 1, the district has received 38 OPA requests. We have provided responses to all 38. 37 of them are complete, considered closed. We have one that is partially complete. It's a request for records over multiple years. We've provided partial documents, and we are continuing to produce records in response to that one request. So to date, we have provided just under 7,000 pages of government records. It's at 6,944.
Thank you, Mr. Smythe. I appreciate it. At this time, Mr. Buff, I believe you have something for the board report?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to add that I was able to attend the Powder Puff game last night, and very exciting. Perfect night for football. Everybody involved, all the athletes on the field, to the cheerleaders on the sidelines, and the student coaches. It was really, really a great night. And it's great to see the community come together for an event like that, because I've been to other districts that have held similar events, and the turnout isn't nearly what it was at the Wall Township High School Powder Puff game. So great job to everybody involved. It was really a good night.
Agreed. Thank you. I also attended Powder Puff, and it was awesome to see Marnie, our athletic director, out interviewing the kids, doing live broadcasts with the kids on the sidelines, and it was always nice to see so many teachers out, our class advisors, our principals. So it was a super night. If you have never been to a Powder Puff, don't miss it next year. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Nasser to please give us a referendum update.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to start by saying thank you for the wonderful presentations. Everything is possible. Seeing what's going on there is absolutely amazing. And thank you, Ms. McCann, for the data. It is not the most exciting concept, but yeah, from being on the board through the pandemic and trying to conceptualize what we were going to have to deal with the next few years to get our students back to where they were was tough, and you don't really know until you start having data and you can start trending it. And for the first time, I think I saw what we were looking for, and I'm like, oh, wow, it worked. Is there still work to do? Absolutely, there's always work to do. But I think that type of data in that granular fashion is good because it'll help us target, at least on the FNF, where we can help out the best, where the resources need to go. So thank you for that. Second, we're the FNF committee, so we have to thank our custodians and maintenance, not because we want to, but because they're the best. They do so much work. They're here all the time. They open the buildings, they close the buildings. And there's such a great team here. I can't say enough good things about them, so thank you from my heart for everything you all do. So our FNF committee meeting met at the high school. We did a walkthrough. For those that were aware of our referendum process, originally before we designed the scope of the referendum, we would meet each month at a different school to look at the different conditions of the building and try to prioritize what we needed to include in the projects and what things may be left best for other types of capital projects. Similar to the data that we're starting to see come out, now we're starting to see results of that. And being able to walk through the high school was absolutely amazing to see. We saw the bathrooms, we saw some of what was planned in the auditorium and the front entrance. It really is going to be amazing. I didn't know what to expect, and I walked away just blown away with some of the work that went on this summer. The quality of work, I have to say, I was really impressed. So to continue that, we have a couple of projects that are on the agenda for approval. The first is for interior alterations and continuing with the scope of the referendum projects. And we have a large HVAC project that was a series of smaller projects we were able to combine to try to get some more volume discounts in a larger overall project. The details are online. None of this was a surprise. It's all broken down. I will say this was voted on by our community. It was overwhelmingly passed. We thank them for that. And it really is going to make a huge difference in the overall environment in this district. On top of that, I want to say thank you to Mr. Van Sickle, our facilities manager. He's on his way out. Got a new gig closer to home. God bless him. He was on the road a lot. And I want to welcome Mr. Crisanda, who's on the agenda for approval tonight. I wish him best. He's coming into a fun environment to work in, and I'm sure he's going to work out fine. Last but not least, I do want to address one rumor floating around. The district has not sold any property. I will say the process for a school district to sell a parcel of property is not quick, and not done behind the scenes. It's a very public process, from an appraisal to approval from the state, application to the state. It could take 2 or 3 years. So if you're hearing that the smoke and mirrors Board of Education is selling off our we're not able to do that. That's not the way things work. So I do want to address that, clear that up. Hopefully it puts some people's minds at ease. Thank you, Madam President. That is all.
Thank you, Mr. Nasser. Do any other members of the board have anything to contribute to the board report at this time? Okay. Seeing that, I'm going to remind folks that committee minutes are posted online. Members of the Board of Education not only meet at least once a month for our business meetings, but we also meet in smaller groups in committee, and that's at least once a month as well. So you can view the minutes if you'd like to take a look at them. They are published online. Do any of my committee chairs have anything to report out on? In addition, none? Okay. Seeing none, I'm going to be opening the floor at this time for the second public comment. Again, if you would like to contribute your thoughts, we have got the microphone at the top of the stairs there, and also down here on the floor. So please come forward and share.
Betsy Cross, I live in Wall Township. I think it would have been helpful if you had that presentation as handouts. It was so hard to read, you had to take pictures of it. It's ridiculous. I say the same thing every single year. But I'm sure it's just not by design. So I appreciate it, Ms. McCann, but you couldn't read it sitting here. Shout out to Ms. Panasuk, and I think the 11th grade and 12th grade second algebra 2 teacher. I mean, they were like off the charts for what you could read. Let's see. I saw in the June minutes that we had a lawsuit with the HVAC company, and it seems to be the same. I don't know if it's the same company as who we just did this $18 million venture with. So Adam, maybe if you could answer that, or Mr. Smythe. But I saw that there was a lawsuit with the HVAC company, so that gets me nervous. What else? Looking at numbers, what you have in here, also we weren't allowed to ask questions of Ms. McCann. It's ridiculous. You have people here, they want to ask questions, you can't ask them. So that falls on Ms. Stites, being the president. It's terrible. Again, you need to have lawsuits on your agendas, and you keep withholding them. Mr. Lester Richens suggests I file a complaint against the board, which I will now do. Executive session, June 11th, litigation, HVAC contract 22K129B. Mr. Smythe advised that, Mr. Merlino, and then everything is redacted. Strangely, July 16th executive minutes, it looked like Mr. Smythe was just advising everybody about the Warnick claim. So that is just really disturbing. It paid out in November, and it's on here. Litigation, Mr. Smythe reported to the board on the status of the insurance claim related to the complaint filed in 2015. I believe that's Ms. Warnick. It had paid out in November, and board members are just finding about it on July 16th, 6 months later. And then August 20th is when I had the conversation with Dr. Handerhand on the criminal activity for the trailers. I went over the 18 million on the HVAC. I think that should be looked at by your auditor. All what the work you paid for before and the current work, that should be looked at. Something. Remember, you were sued or a lawsuit for the first round for the HVAC. Mr. Smythe remembers that well. We have only spent $4.3 million on buildings, actual expenditures in buildings. It's like $430,000 a year for over 10 years. That's why the buildings are a mess. So walking around now, I think you walked around to the high school, but, I mean,
Thank you, Mrs.
the money we
Cross.
pay in our taxes versus what we get is no comparison.
Thank you, Mrs. Cross. Your time is
whatsoever.
up.
Tom Riddell, 83.
Do we have anyone else for public comment at this time? Do we have anyone else for public comment? If we have anyone else for public comment, please come to the podium, either at the top of the stairs or here.
Kathleen Duran, Wall Township. I would like to add my displeasure to Betsy's comment that the board has been so less than forthcoming and actually secretive about disclosing settlements. You are a public entity. Your settlements are not secret. They are not super secret, and they are not even confidential. You're allowed to do the ordinary redactions, but the fact of the settlement, the amount and the date are not allowed to be withheld. So the failure to produce them in response to her request can only make you look worse and worse as time goes on, and frankly more ridiculous, because there are better fields to choose to die on, because this is a no-brainer. The settlements are not super secret with the school board. The second thing is, I had time to check your maintenance plan budget items that were handed out, and there are 21 entries, all separate, and they're all identical. So your budget, which if you wanted to just be the ordinary citizen, just looking to see how are we spending this million or that million or this $500,000 or this 100,000, you just look at it and it's the same entry for each school, for each school year, 23, 24, 25, and 26. It's just repeated over and over again. So if I want to see what you're spending money on, it says the same three things, basically. We're just going to take care of the building. And you spent several pages to do that, and it just says it over and over and over again. There is actually no detail that is informational or contains any information that would be of use to anyone who's looking for information on what is actually being done. And the reason this is of concern is, just so people in the audience who may not have done it, the budget's increased from 30% to 50% to actually double. So you're allocating a tremendous amount of money. You've doubled the budget for some schools and have absolutely no disclosure of why you're doing so. You have no disclosure why one school went up 30%, another school went up 50%, another school simply doubled. So what's being done, when is it being done, or why it's being done is all completely a mystery to all of us. We're just going to close our eyes, hold our breath, and hope for the best, that somebody has the school's interest at heart and does the right amount of work under the terms of a comprehensive maintenance plan budget. It's ridiculous, and it doesn't hold the board or the school accountable for what's being done.
Thank you, Ms. Duran. Do we have anyone else for public comment? Anyone? All right, seeing none, we're going to close the floor for public comment. At this time, may I please have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Malouf, may I have a second? Mr. Wondrak? Mr. Smythe?
Roll call, Mr. Anizio? Yes. Ms. Barbier?
Yes.
Mr. Buffer?
Yes.
Ms. Giovanni?
Yes.
Mr. Malouf?
Yes, with one abstention. Number 16, Roman numeral 1A, number 4.
Noted. Mr. Nasser?
Yes.
Ms. Shimko?
Yes.
Mr. Wondrak?
Yes.
Ms. Stikes?
Yes, thank you. At this time, may I please have a motion to adjourn? Ms. DiGiovanni, may I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Buffa, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, that's going to conclude our meeting this evening. Thank you for coming out.